Hi, I'm Erin Leach, and you're listening to the In the Middle of It podcast. This is a space for the ambitious woman navigating the beautiful, messy intersection of motherhood, business, and spirituality. We're here to get real about what it actually looks like to build a life that feels aligned from the inside out while moving through the seasons that stretch and shape you into the best version of yourself. So, whether you're in a season of high speed growth or quiet reflection, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Let's get ready for this week's episode. Hello and happy new year. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, all about why this isn't really actually the new year and a lot of other stuff. Blend it all into that. So I'm sure that you also can relate to being on social media and seeing all of these posts about how much people accomplished last year, their goals and what they're going to do this year and all of this stuff, everybody's grand plans. And maybe you're like me and seeing those posts kind of make you feel like poo because you are not in that place yourself as much as you want to be. You just haven't gone there for whatever reason. And I feel ya because I have not either. This past month has been absolutely wacko for me personally and as a family. And I'm finally just coming out of the holiday haze. You know what I'm talking about. And our normal routines sort of kind of are coming back. And normalcy is kind of sort of a thing again, which is really nice. But I've definitely been thinking, damn, it's January 4th, 5th, 6th, and I haven't done diddly squat. I have lots of intentions and ideas for the year, but I don't know when I'm going to do them, how I'm going to do them, or like I haven't written it down either. Well, I have a little bit, but not in the intentional way that I usually do. Thinking about it's the new year and I want to record a podcast episode. I honestly wasn't even going to publish an episode this week. And then further, again, making myself feel like, damn, there you go. Just started the new year and not even sticking to your ideals of like consistency and such with this podcast specifically. But last night was doing finally some reflecting and realized that this is exactly what I need to record because I know for a fact that there is somebody else out there that's feeling this same way, or at least something similar, that you feel like you're behind already. And it's only January 6th, at least at the time of recording this, and wondering, like, what am I going to get done this year? How am I going to start the year off? This isn't how I wanted to start the year. All these things, and probably spiraling. And I feel you because I have been feeling exactly that way lately. But came to the realization that I had been putting a lot of pressure on myself to come out of the 2026 gates of swinging and rocking and rolling with my plan in hand and all my goals and everything locked in and ready to go. And no, that is not what's happened. And I kept finding myself overthinking things and doubting my plans, myself, my abilities, all of the things. Just so much doubt and so much overthinking and feeling really stuck and really frustrated by that. But after a little bit of journaling and reflection last night, I just realized like I feel like I'm in a pressure cooker right now. And that's a choice. I am choosing that ultimately. So now I'm going to choose to just turn the damn thing off, the metaphorical pressure cooker, and just go back to basics. with business things and my planning for the year around my new business and mindset coaching business. I just said business like 18 times. um, but then also like energetically returning to where I was in like October, November with a more softer, slower, more feminine approach that has really been working well for me so far until I got sucked into this more productive, hustle, new year energy type masculine vibe. So, working on my new coaching business, I know that there is so much that I want to do with it and that I know I will do with it at some point in this year. But for right now, like maybe for the next week or two, or maybe the next month, I don't know. I'm really okay with going back to the basics and focusing on the fundamentals. You got to walk before you can run. And I think if we take that kind of perspective with this new year, we may be able to find a little bit of grace for ourselves and knowing that the reflections and insight will come. All of that is going to come to you when it's meant to. And you definitely need to set aside time to actually get in like a more reflective zone mindset. And whether that be with journaling or just having a little bit of quiet time, the quiet will create the clarity. Just sitting with your thoughts and giving yourself the space to just be open to whatever your mind, your brain, your body, your spirit gives you. I'm not saying avoid it. You don't need to do this, blah, 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 blah. But maybe acknowledge where you are in life, acknowledging your like family systems and such right now, and setting aside time when life might feel just a little bit less wild. Because if your brain is also here, there, everywhere, it's going to be really hard to let the insight and reflections come through all of that noise. So if you needed it, here's your permission slip. If you're not watching the video, if you're listening to the podcast, my hand is out in front of you and I'm holding an invisible piece of paper. It's your permission slip to just go slow. Just take your time. At the end of the day, ain't nobody coming knocking on your door asking for your goals for the year. There's no submission date like taxes. There is no productivity achievement IRS coming to check in on you. Ultimately, it's really just ourselves. And how much does that suck to know that you feel like crap because of yourself and your own mindset and stories and beliefs and all of that? That sucks. I mean, it's bad enough if somebody else talks crap to you or, whatever, treats you in some not so wonderful way. But then to do it to ourselves, we can do better than that. And I actually recently came across two very interesting things that further emphasize all of this. First being just the straight up calendar itself. It was maybe over the summer, I think, had learned this. I saw something about it on social media and then it made so much sense to me that I just went down a rabbit hole for a little while in looking into like the old, I guess, ancient, for lack of a better word, calendar that for thousands and thousands of years, there were a lot of ancient cultures that used the system of 13 months that were each 28 days long. If you do the math, 13 times 28, you get 364. And then there was one like reflection day that I guess some cultures called year day. And that makes so much sense because, first of all, as a woman, 28-day cycle mimics the biological cycles of women for the most part. Obviously, every woman's cycle is different, but, I just thought that alone, like, praised finally. There was something that was honoring women and what we are just given. Why cannot we get back to that? That would be lovely, but that ain't happening ever, probably. And it also reflects the cycles of the moon as well. Didn't look too much into that part, but that is just one little tidbit that I know also about this like ancient calendar. And somewhere along the line, I don't even know when, we shifted away from that flow in that calendar to this rigid 12-month Gregorian calendar and expected to be on and like usually at your highest when nature's hibernating. And that might feel like a weird shift to talk about nature and hibernating and all of that, but stick with me here. Historically, the new year used to start in March with the spring equinox. And again, if you think about it, it just makes so much sense that the new year would be when, like, kind of the earth is in bloom and creating all this new growth and things are being born and everything just comes back to life. Like, especially if you're in a northern climate, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, as soon as spring starts to hit and we start getting like 45, 50, 55-degree days, there's people out in flip flops, shorts, no jacket. We're living like it's the middle of July because we are all just so thrilled to finally have some warmth back in our lives. And even on those random days, in February that we get this spontaneous mild day, like quote unquote heat wave for the winter, you go outside for those 1 or 2 days where you feel like you did some drugs because all of the, what is it, like serotonin and the vitamin D that we're getting from the sun and all of the things, it just feels so good. So when I learned this, I'm like, well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Versus in the winter, when we have all this new year energy and you're supposed to go out and achieve so much, or at least set the intentions to achieve, that we're really supposed to just be chilling. This is really the time where we're supposed to be turning inward and reflecting and, we're hibernating just like nature. We are a part of nature at the end of the day, and we're supposed to be doing the same thing according to like our history and bodies and everything, the way that we are like fundamentally wired as humans. So with all of that in mind, already, hopefully that gives you a sense of peace with wherever you're at this new year, knowing that we are not supposed to be in go mode right now. This is chill mode and like connecting mode. And then you add on top of that astrology. If you're not an astrology person, stick with me. Just hear me out. So you may or may not have heard of this whole year of the snake versus year of the horse. It's technically the wood snake and the fire horse. I don't know if that makes any difference, but maybe it does to somebody. So if history doesn't convince you to slow down, we can look at the stars. And according to astrology, we are technically still in the year of the snake until February 16th. And that snake energy, it's all about shedding and closing loops, internal strategy. Again, more of that like internal focus and softer energy in a way. It's quiet, but the year of the fire horse doesn't kick in until February 17th, the day after, obviously. And that horse energy is what we're all trying to feel right now. And some people are, and that's great. I love that for you. A lot of us are not. As that fast paced, like racehorse momentum, again, coming out the gates, coming out the race gates, the track gates to go and, make your lap around the year, but you can't race if you're still in the middle of shedding. Metaphorically, stick with me, I promise it makes sense. So if you're trying to run like a horse while you're still in your snakeskin, so to speak, you're just going to feel that friction and resistance. That's why we're feeling stuck. The universe is literally asking us to finish closing the old loops and clearing space for what is to come. Right now is not about forcing momentum. It's about cleaning up energetically, finishing conversations, rest and restoration, and trusting timing. We're closing long cycles and like learning lessons and letting go of things that no longer fit. So then when the horse year begins, that energy is going to shift. February 17th, give or take, the energy shifts more towards fast and the movement and courage and visibility and bold decisions. And that can only happen after the snake has finished its work. So, my astrological advice is to not rush decisions. Let's give ourselves the grace and avoid the pressure of starting over, this like clean slate of a new year. Let's reflect instead of reacting and honor the things that are ending. Like for me, there's a lot that is coming to a close. There's a lot that's changing. So I'm giving myself permission to just walk. Again, you got to walk before you can run. Building my coaching business one little brick at a time instead of trying to manifest a skyscraper overnight. My stepdad used to say, can't build a skyscraper on a shit foundation. In reality, he was talking about when you have big feet and don't feel insecure having big feet, but can still work here. You can't build a skyscraper on a shit foundation, friend. You got to pause and do the work, close any open loops, allow our nervous systems to catch up to like the peace that we've been asking for and the peace that we've been seeking out. Got to give yourself a minute to mark February 17th on your calendar. It is the new year, the new year. Really, it's the OG new year. And that's when the pace will probably change. That's when the energy will likely shift. I am not an astrological expert by any means. So if it's February 17th and you feel no different, please do not come into my DMs yelling at me. But just stay in this slow growth. We're not behind. We're just on a different clock, especially as women, considering most of my audience is women, aside from probably just my husband. So I'm going back to the fundamentals. I am returning to the beginning of this business course that I have and start from the beginning and just give myself the permission to take the consistent actions that I need to build a solid foundation. And then the rest will grow from there. And same with life and everything at home as well. There's so much that's shifting. That was also the energy of the snake, is again just that shedding of things that don't serve us anymore. So let those things finish. Don't carry those into the next year. We don't need that weighing us down, because we are on February 17th, give or take. We are going to come out of those gates a swinging, a racing, whatever metaphor you want to use here. And we will be ready then. But if you're feeling like life is suspiciously quiet right now, don't go looking for problems. They're not there, I promise. They're not there. Just put your blinders on, continuing on with the racehorse vibe, apparently, and don't dwell on what everybody else is accomplishing, and know that your time is coming. So that being said, thank you so much for listening today. As always, I am Erin Leach, and this is In the Middle of It. If you love this episode, if you're feeling any bit inspired, I would love for you to share it with a friend who might be feeling the same way right now, or your mom, whoever. And if you haven't yet, follow the show so you keep getting all the new episodes, and leave a 5-star rating so that more women can find these conversations and join us in our community. So until next time, this is your reminder that you are not behind. You're just on a different clock. And this is your permission slip to take whatever time that you need to start your year. See you.